All right. Phew. This has just been a whirlwind already. All right, now I'm going to share my screen, she said with confidence. There we go. There, now you should be seeing my PowerPoint for NCA general membership meeting, and we will go ahead and get started. I would ask, if you're not speaking, if you could please mute yourself, just so we're not hearing a lot of background noise. I would love to hear from y'all if you have comments or questions or anything, so please do unmute yourself if you want to speak, and then just mute yourself again after you're done speaking. That would be much appreciated. I'm going to go ahead and start the PowerPoint here, and we'll just see what happens. So I did want to start with introductions. I know many of you, I'm sure I know I don't know all of you because there's a lot of you, which is cool. So I'm going to start here for a minute. So I'm Samantha Royster. I know that you all know Suva Tai as our fearless leader since the inception of the National CERT Association. And he's been wonderful and has really brought the NCA to where it is. And none of us would be here without all of the work that Suva has put in. And he just has a lot going on in his personal and professional life. And he is still very much a part of the NCA. I did not notice if he's on the call. I apologize. Oh, here we go. I can look at my participants panel. I'm sure he'll pipe up at some point if he is here. But again, just want to thank Suva so much for everything that he has done for us. But he has decided to take a step back from the leadership of the NCA. And I am, I guess I am the interim chair. We're changing the leadership name from a president to chair. So I'm the interim chair for the National CERT Association, and we will have an election at the national conference in August for my position and I guess others as we're moving through our new leadership team. Things are a little bit different than how they used to be, but we are going to move through that here in just a minute. So just a little bit about me. I am the CERT program manager for the state of North Carolina, or state coordinator, if you will. And I have been in this position for 10 years working for North Carolina Emergency Management. I've been involved with CERT since 2009, so a little bit longer than I've had this job. And I started out just like probably so many of you did. I heard about CERT basic training class in my hometown. And my husband and I went and took the class, and we just really, really enjoyed it. We got more and more involved with it. It happened to be the first ever class in our hometown. Excuse me, I have my water here. And so we have been, the town is Apex, North Carolina. If you've ever heard of that, we're just south of Raleigh, the capital of North Carolina. We loved it so much, we helped start the team in Apex. And as soon as we had the opportunity, we took the Train the Trainer class so that we could become CERT trainers ourselves. And we've just been going strong ever since 2009, both locally with the Apex CERT and then at the state level with, as my job with North Carolina Emergency Management. And then I've also been involved with the National CERT Association since it started. My first big meeting that I went to was in 2016 out in Los Angeles. And then I think it was the 2019 meeting in Florida where we really kind of ratified the bylaws and officially started what is now the National CERT Association. So that's me. That's on the CERT side. On the personal side, I do have a wonderful husband. And if you meet me, you will meet him because we're pretty much always together. He's sitting behind me. You probably can't see him.
Hey.
That's Jay. He wears many hats as well. He also works for North Carolina Emergency Management as a radiological emergency preparedness planner. It's a lot of words. So he works with all of the nuclear power plants in North Carolina. He also, by training and education, is an electrical engineer, and he designs test equipment for high voltage systems. And that's all I know about it. I memorized that phrase. I don't do electricity. I mean, I use it, but I don't mess with it because it's really dangerous. And he's also, he says it's fun. He's also a paramedic. So he's been really great with the CERT training. He teaches a lot of our medical units and I'm going to put words in his mouth, but I think he loves CERT as much as I do. Is that right? That's right. Yeah, he says that's right. So we do not have any human children, none of the two-legged variety, but we do have one dog, 5 cats, a horse, and 2 goats. We live on a farm where we take care of 7 horses and 9 goats, but only 1 horse and 2 goats are mine. So that's me in a nutshell. I have hardly been able to keep up with the list of who's on here, but I'm hoping some more of our leadership team is here. I know that Mike Williams has been having some trouble connecting. Mike, have you been able to get on yet? All right, we'll come back to Mike. I know Carrie was going to help him. Are you there, Carrie?
I am here. I am still waiting to hear back from him, and I
Okay.
just sent him a text too.
Okay, great. Thank you. Where he lives, he doesn't have great internet, so he usually joins by phone, and for some reason, the codes I sent him are coming up invalid. I'll tell you just a little bit about Mike. So he is with FSTI, which is the California Fire Services Training Institute, which is sort of the partner now of the National CERT Association. So we are actually a nonprofit under FSTI, and Mike has been a huge help in that. And so he really is the guy holding the checkbook and taking care of the business side of the house. And I'm sure we'll get him on at some point tonight. And if not, you will meet Mike at some point. He's been a real help. The person who's been trying to help him, I think, comes up next. Oh, no, wait. We have a new person that I haven't even met yet. Joe, are you on? Oh,
Yes, I
see his-
am.
Yes, hi,
And we have
Joe.
met.
We have met. I'm sorry. I just
Yeah,
didn't
it's all
recognize
right.
your name.
Uh,
So Joe is going to be our finance leader on the NCA side. So Joe, could you introduce yourself to everyone?
yeah, real quick, I'm Joe Chandra, and I am from outside of Philadelphia in Chester County. We're thinking of all the families that were affected by the tragedy the other day, but I was not nearby that. It's about an hour away from me. Um, from a CERT perspective, I work with the CERT program in Chester County, one of the lead instructors and program manager. Professionally, I work for the 911 Center in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, and I oversee all of the drug overdose surveillance work that's
Wow.
being done there. So, but from a finance perspective, when I was an elected official, I oversaw the town's finance and administration department. So a lot of work with auditing and the functions associated with oversight of finances. So hopefully to bring some of that to the table and use my skills to help drive the organization in that direction.
Awesome. We're so happy that you are with us and looking forward to a great relationship as we move forward with an NCA. And thank you so much for stepping up to help us out.
Samantha,
Yes.
this is Cindy Miller.
Hey,
I'm with
Cindy.
FSTI. How are you?
Great. How are
I just-
you? I know
I'm
Cindy.
good, thank you. I'm just in here representing FSTI until Mike can get on, but
Okay.
I am the bookkeeper and will be handling any financial things directly going on between the NCA and Mike and I work very, very close together and to get everything done. So
Great.
I'm here.
Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it. We are working. I know Carrie's trying to get in touch with
I
him.
and an update, Mike has successfully entered the chat, so I don't know
Great.
if he needs to be let in, but he is
Okay.
here.
All right. So Sean should have let him in. Sean's been watching the lobby for me. Are you there, Mike? All right. I'll check back on you in a second. Carrie, I think I was actually going to go to you next. Since you were just speaking, I'll put you back on the spot. Carrie is our legislative and public policy leader. So Carrie, could you introduce yourself to everyone?
I'd be happy to. Thank you so much for taking care of this, Samantha, and taking over this very important role. It's dynamic, it's has a lot of moving parts, and I know you're going to do a great job. So looking forward
Thank
to
you.
working with you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, so my name is Carrie Chenard. I have been the City of San Diego Fire Rescue Department CERT Program Manager for 17 years. And prior to that, I was one of the many jobs I had prior to coming to the city of San Diego was I was a legislative aide in state government in the state of Ohio, and I also worked very briefly at the federal level as a grassroots lobbyist with the Ohio Farmers Union. So that's a little bit of my public policy background. And I have been just in awe. Basically, Suva and I came on board in our respective roles. Suva was with the state of California and me with the city of San Diego around about the same time. So we've kind of grown up together in our CERT uh, world. So I've been lucky to be a part of the National CERT Conference for several years. We hosted I won't say the first National CERT Conference, but the first National CERT Conference in the version that we currently have it now, where we go and kind of go big with it. It was in 2019, was held in the city of San Diego. And we've just been full steam ahead from there. CERT has really evolved over the years, and I think that's the important role that the NCA is playing with helping other organizations outside of California to really understand and utilize the CERT, what CERT is and how it can work best within their community. Because CERT, at the basic level, we're an all hazards training, but I always believe it's important to say that what Minnesota needs, Florida needs, Texas, California, Ohio, Nevada, everybody, they all have different needs, but CERT and the training it does to prepare people is universal. So thank you for this opportunity and welcome everybody who has joined us.
Thank you. We're up to 120 people. That's pretty exciting. We've got a good crowd here. And thank you, Carrie, for all of your hard work. So glad that you're here. Next is our training manager, and she actually wears two hats. We'll get to a other hat in a second, but the wonderful Brenda Emmerich is on with us. I saw your name, Brenda.
Hello.
Hi.
I am so excited to see 120 plus people at our meeting. This is fantastic. We've never done this before. So shout out to all you National CERT Association members. As training manager, I've had the opportunity to build training programs. One specifically for the National CERT Association is the CERT Master Instructor Trainer course that we offer through the conferences. And that really is to help our states build cadres of instructors that can teach that train the trainer and program manager course. Along with Joe and Doug Meikle and Arlene Cuevas, we're all part of the EMI, or the National Disaster Emergency Management University, NDEMU. We are all part of that training staff. So the goal for us is to continue to build and strengthen CERT across the country and through the National CERT Association. Just recently retired after 38 years in the fire service and emergency management. So I'm playing in the world of CERT at a completely different focus. So not in uniform. So it's very different for me to be in a role. So appreciate the opportunity to work with all of you and look forward to connecting the dots with all. Hey, Mike Culver, I saw you on there. Another one of our state folks that worked out here in California. Appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you, Brenda. She is a wonderful little powerhouse and has so much energy. I've tried to feed off of her and just get some of her energy whenever I talk to her because she's amazing. Next, we have our marketing manager, Denise. She is probably not on, I would guess. She is in Thailand right now, so she has a good excuse. Denise is in Chino, California, and she has been helping out with our new website. And I know for the last CERT conference, she also helped with, creating the program, not the program as far as deciding who the speakers are, but the physical program where you read the layout of what classes you want to go to when, and she's been a tremendous help. She also, so she's our marketing and website person. So you will meet Denise. She's fantastic. I don't even know what time it is in Thailand right now. So she couldn't join. Brenda also, they told you she wears two hats. We, in redesigning the leadership team, we, instead of having 2 reps from every FEMA region, and there are 10 regions, so that meant 20 people right there. And we felt like that, we called it a board at that time, that it had gotten really large and cumbersome. And so we have decided to split the country into 3 regions. We are creatively calling them the Western, Central, and Eastern sections of the country. And I'm starting in the West with Brenda, and my brain is working the other way. So the Eastern part is going to be FEMA regions 1, 2, 3, and 4. Central is 5, 6, 7, and West is 8, 9, 10. So Brenda is going to be our Western representative, representing FEMA regions 8, 9, and 10. So she just introduced herself. Now you know her other hat. And we will hear next from our new Central representative, who will be FEMA regions 5, 6, and 7. He's also going to be hosting our national conference for this year, which I know everybody is really anxious to hear about, and we will get to that. But please welcome Scott Huffman. Trustees here. Scott? Uh-oh. Scott's not here. Oh my gosh. He must be having technical difficulties because we talked about it. So Scott is the CERT, the state program. Let me start this again. The CERT coordinator for the state of Indiana, and he lives in Indianapolis. And our conference will be actually in Plainfield, Indiana, which is right next door to Indianapolis. So Scott is our central representative for the NCA. And then we have our Eastern representative, and I think I saw his name come up. He would be for FEMA regions 1, 2, 3, and 4. Michael Davis, I do see your name.
Hi, good evening. Nice to meet everyone, and I'm proud to be a part of this this great organization. So a little bit about me. I'm fairly new to CERT within the past few years. I work for the Division of Emergency Management, Homeland Security for Connecticut, and my other hat that I wear for the state is the state CERT coordinator for Connecticut. Connecticut has a very active CERT community. We have over 102 teams within our small state. So I'm busy. I've been honored to present at the past 2 conferences, different lectures, and I've had the honor of being mentored by Brenda and Joe. So I'm proud to be part of this group now, and I'll put my email in the chat for the eastern side of the U.S. If anyone wants to reach out, connect. And learn from each other and share information.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Michael. We're really excited to have you here. I've been to some of your presentations at national CERT conferences, and you're an excellent presenter. And I took several pages of notes because I'm a note taker, and you do a great job. And I was born in New Milford, Connecticut, and they have a CERT program there. So yeah.
They do have a CERT program.
Yes, and my aunt still lives there. We were just talking today. So what you see here is sort of our org chart, not sort of, it is an org chart of our current leadership team. You'll notice there are a few boxes that have red outlines around them. That's because these are positions that still need to be filled. We really, really need a secretary, someone who can help us to keep track of our meetings, can send out minutes to folks after the meetings happen, that sort of thing. If that's something that calls to you and you're a very organized person, a detail-oriented person, let me put my email in the chat as well. If you, and this goes for any of these positions, if you're interested, please send me an email. Let me know something about you and your background. Why would you be the perfect person for this job? And if you don't remember my email or whatever, I will be sending out minutes or the agenda from this meeting. It's the Word document version of the PowerPoints that you're seeing now. And there will be a link to a Google form for you to fill out for any of these positions. So secretary is the first one. Membership manager is the next. And you notice my name is there, but yet it also has a red square. So that has been my position for the last several years with the NCA, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I love doing membership. And with doing the interim chair, I'm probably going to have my hands full and can't do both of those roles. So I'm hoping somebody would like to step up and help us keep track of our membership, things like tracking. You don't necessarily have to track payments and so forth because our new software does a good job with that, but people always have questions, and we'll get to this too, but logging into the new portal, how do I get in? How do I know if I've paid my dues? I want to set up auto pay. I want to turn off auto pay. We want to make sure we keep our members happy. And also we want, somebody who can be kind of a contact, like I have a general question about membership in the NCA. So we need another good detail-oriented person who can express themselves well and can write good emails and answer people's questions as they have them. So that's another position we're looking for. The next one you see there is a resource library manager. Brenda, did you want to say anything about the resource library? Do you want to tell folks a little more about that?
Sure. We're working on creating a capability for all National Cert Association members to have access to a resource folder. So if you're looking for a fun activity, if you're looking for generalized information, if you're looking for curriculum that can best serve your program, hopefully we can build that out. I know we've been talking about it for a number of years, but we certainly want to make sure that we have a resource for all of you that belong to the National Cert Association. So get in touch with us if this is your mission. And certainly we'll look at lots of support and help for anybody that takes on that role.
And
Thanks.
in my mind, I feel like that resource library is going to be one of the most valuable reasons to become a member of the NCA, is because you will have access to this amazing library of information, just like Brenda was talking about. So we need help with that. And that will be also housed within our general website/portal. That one will be for members only. So you have to be a member of the NCA to be able to access that, those resources there. We also are looking for a social media manager, and that comes under marketing, but social media, y'all know social media it can take over everything and it's huge. And we have a Facebook page. We really haven't done anything with it. I know that I fit the demographics for Facebook, but I think not everybody does anymore. And there are newer things maybe that we need to be exploring. We need somebody to kind of help us in the social media aspect so that we're able to put out stories about what's going on with the NCA. We can help to advertise for the conference. We can highlight a CERT program in Connecticut did this awesome, amazing thing, and we can put pictures and a story up there about it to help inspire other CERT volunteers in other areas. We're looking for somebody who can help us with that as well. Again, I will have, when I send out tomorrow, I'm going to send you all it'll be a PDF form of these slides, but just with words. And there'll be a link there where you can fill out the form if you're interested in one of these positions. So we really would like to hear from you. All right, any questions so far? All right, I'm going to move right along then. So the next thing I want to talk about is our membership portal. We have finally migrated away from the old system, so you will not be getting charged to your credit card without your knowledge. That was one of the biggest complaints. It was called NEP, was the company that managed that one before. And Suva and I both were on the phone and sending emails back and forth with them all the time, trying to get things straightened out. It was a very difficult system to work with, even from our side, and I know it was difficult from the member side as well. So we're now with a company called Member Leap, and they've been an absolute joy to work with. I think I think the website is looking good, and I mean that's Denise doing a lot of that, but working within their template. And as far as I've been handling membership, it's really easy. We did do all of the registration for last year's conference using that software as well. And it went really, really well. And being able to do all of that on one platform also saved us a ton of money because we didn't have to look to a third party to manage conference registration for us. So that was fantastic. Really happy about that. With this new system, yes, Martha, I see your question. I'm getting to that in 1 second. You will have the option to choose auto pay or not. So you don't have to be automatically charged, but you can if you want to. And you will be reminded before your dues are due. And I put the smiley face there because that was something a lot of people were upset about. And also because I thought it was funny to say when your dues are due. So that's why I put the smiley face. It's just going to be so much better. You'll get an email saying, hey, just want to remind you that your membership expires in 60 days. And then if you go ahead and renew your membership, you will not get any more reminders. So it's not going to keep bugging you. If you don't renew at 60 days, you'll get another one at 30 days saying, hey, just want to remind you, your membership's going to expire. And then I think there's one at 7 days. And then if you choose not to renew, which we hope that you all will stay with us forever, but should you choose not to renew, you would simply be dropped off the system. And membership is for individuals. I see Peter's question there. Yep. So it is based upon the individual who registers for the NCA. And then to Martha's question, she said several people haven't been able to update their membership and dues. Yes, something will be coming to you. Part of what I'm still doing as membership chair is I'm going to make sure each and every one of you, and there are about 1,478 members approximately, that everybody by the end of February, because that's a lot of people to process, you will get an email from the National CERT Association that will give you your username and a temporary password so you can get into the portal. And then of course, once you log in, it will prompt you to change your password to, I don't want to know what your password is. And then you will be able to see in there, when does your membership expire? And you can update your profile. We really would love it if everyone went into their profile and added an emergency contact or even your cell phone number. Let us know where you live, because we migrated a lot of information over from the old system. We don't have mailing addresses for everybody. And you never know, we might want to send out postcards, like a save the date for the conference or something, and we don't have mailing addresses for everyone. So that would be really helpful. Buck wants to know, if an organization pays for its members' dues, can we register or pay for more than one member? I think so. I will look at that. I'm writing myself a note. And when I write it in my magic notebook, Sean will tell you. Sean, who's helping us let people in from the lobby, is actually my colleague at North Carolina Emergency Management, and he knows about the magic notebooks. So can you register or pay for more than one member? I will answer that question and get back to you. Buck Stevens, register, pay for multiple people, and that's Buck. All right, Buck, look for an answer from me in the next day or two. I'm going to look that up for you and let you know for sure. Great. I love your questions. I want to know what's on your mind and answer them if I possibly can. Any questions, anything else about the membership portal or the website? Okay. I'll move right along then. I didn't have a ton of slides because I also have left, oops, Sean got kicked out. That's why he wasn't answering. I left a lot of time for question and answers at the end, so I tried to keep this fairly short. But hey, let's talk about the conference. Oh, Ricardo wants to know the portal address. I'm putting this in the chat. You just go to nationalcert.org. You can, no worries, Sean, I got you back. You can log in from there, and if it says, you know, is it your first time here, your email address is your way to get in, and then it should find you if you're in the system. If you have any trouble, you can always, you know, email membership@nationalcert.org, if I spell it right, and ask those questions specific to the website or the portal, and I can always go in the back door and find a way to let you in. So let's talk about the conference. Who's excited to go to another National CERT conference? I know I am. I'm super excited. So like I said, we're looking at Plainfield, Indiana, right outside of Indianapolis, very close to the airport, which is very handy. And I did hear today, I finally got confirmation the hotel we're going to be at does have a free airport shuttle. So yay, that's super good news for all of us. We're going to change up the format a little bit this year and have the conference on a Wednesday through Saturday. So that's August 6th through August the 9th. The leadership team talked a lot about this, and we threw around some different ideas, and our thought on, first of all, I think it's 1 day shorter, but we still are going to have 120 different sessions available, not counting the pre-conference training, which I'll get to in a minute. But for the main conference, Wednesday through Saturday, we wanted to have at least one weekend day for the conference, so that if there's anybody who can't get away to come during the week, you might have to take off from work if you're going to come on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And yes, Brenda's as excited as I am about a full day of training on Saturday. It's going to be fantastic. But maybe you can only get there for that 1 day. So we are going to offer a 1 day registration if that's the only day that you can come. And especially for people who maybe you live within driving distance of Indianapolis and it would just be easier for you to come for that 1 day. So we're going to try this format this year and see how it works. You know that after the conference, we'll be sending out surveys and asking what you liked and what you didn't like. And certainly we'll be asking how you liked this format. So we really want to hear your feedback about that after the conference. I really hope it's going to be great. That's my goal. And then, so we've left Sunday as a travel day too, if you are flying in or anything. So conference Wednesday through Saturday. And I think it'll be wonderful. And Brenda, would you like to talk about the pre-conference training?
Absolutely. All right. We are working towards bringing you a train the trainer, a program manager, and these will both be EMI, or National Disaster Emergency Management University. I gotta spill it.
No.
All that name change. Those classes will be organized by the university, formerly known as EMI. And then we hope to bring you also a Master Instructor Trainer course. And so that, again, is that opportunity for us to help states with very seasoned instructors become instructors back in their home state, to help continue to build the Train the Trainer program and program managers. We haven't reached out to TEACS yet. I know that was a very popular class prior to. Part of it is facility wise, but the idea and the excitement of bringing pre-conference training is fantastic. But I love the fact that we are going to be able to do so much in this period of time with the state of Indiana. And there are a few folks on here. Indiana has been so excited in the planning process for a while, so I'm sad that Scott's not here. So we'll have to figure out what happened in his neck of the woods. He might be super busy with what's happening with weather. But we are again, bringing forward these classes that help you build these programs back in your home state. So thanks for that. And that'll be coming up the 4th through the 6th. So it'll be a full either 2.5 days for program manager. It'll be a full 3 days for Train the Trainer. You won't miss anything at the conference when the conference starts on Wednesday, because we'll be doing something unique for that Wednesday evening shout out start date. And then moving forward with that Thursday, Friday, and full day Saturday to be able to kind of plan some really great training sessions. 120. Oh my gosh.
No, I
you
can't
are all
wait.
going to be busy.
It's going to be wonderful.
Samantha.
Thank you so much, Brenda. But it's going to be a great conference, y'all. And I really hope that you can all make it and tell all your CERT friends to come too. It's going to be fantastic. We will be getting more information out about the conference as plans solidify. But this is your start of it right here. We're hoping that we will be opening early registration by March 1st. I have my fingers firmly crossed. I think we can do it. I really do. So watch for that. There will certainly be email traffic coming your way to let you know it's time to register for that National CERT conference. And the other thing you'll be seeing very soon is we need speakers. We need people to fill up those 120 sessions. Do you have some talk that you've given maybe at your local CERT program that's a really great talk, let us know about it. We want to know. We need you. We do have a team that is organizing the program, and there will be a link coming as well if you want to help in the planning phase of the conference. We have, gosh, I don't count how many, probably 10 different teams within the conference team that are working on maybe selecting the speakers for the program, or working with Brenda on the pre-conference training, or maybe your strong suit is logistics and you want to help us to get all the stuff that we need to make this conference great. We could really use you there. Sponsors and exhibitors are really going to make this conference, we need them really badly. So we need people to help us to solicit sponsors and exhibitors. We have some of our tried and true people we're really great friends with that have helped us at almost every conference that we've done. But let us know of any new exhibitors that you think would be great. I'm bringing a new one to the table this year. I don't know how many of you might have heard of, well, I shouldn't say. I'm not going to say because they haven't signed a contract yet. But just wait, there's going to be a really fun exhibitor there, I hope. Yes, Phyllis, we are going to ask the exhibitors to stay through Saturday because we're hoping that we'll have an even larger attendance on Saturday. Because of people coming in for the one day. And Marcos, how about something in Spanish? One of the things I'm hoping we can do this year is to have tracks. So maybe if you want to learn more medical skills, we'll have one day, all day will be different medical topics for that. And I don't know if maybe we could have a Spanish track. Maybe at least one day we would have one track that's taught entirely in Spanish. I think that's a really great idea. We need to find the speakers and the topics to be able to do that. So Marcus, you may be one of our presenters, and since you suggested it, so we're going to put you on the spot and have you come and help us out. So if you do want to join that conference planning team, again, when I send out the notes tomorrow for this meeting, there will be a link there to another Google form. So if you want to help with the conference, it'll list all the different jobs that we have available, the different teams that you could be on. And that we've already started. We've had one meeting already of the conference planning team. Of course, we have a lot of folks that are local to Indiana because that's where the conference is being held. But even if you are anywhere else, our meetings mostly happen virtually anyway. So we can use your help no matter where you are. You don't have to be in Indiana. Any other questions about the conference? All right, I'm not hearing any questions. I'm going to move ahead, see what we have next. All right, I want to talk about what we're doing tonight. This is our first 2025 general membership meeting, and I really want to make this a regular thing. So I've already put these dates on my calendar in pen, not pencil. So plan for these. We're here now, February 3rd. Our next general membership meeting is May 5th. In August, we will meet in person at the conference, but we will still have a virtual option for folks who are not able to attend the conference. And then we'll meet again on November 3rd. And all of these meetings will be at 7 p.m. Eastern. So, adjust for wherever you may be. And what you see over here on the agenda, this is pretty much the format that we plan to keep. Tonight's a little different because we had introductions and letting you know about how things are different now. But for the most part, moving forward, this is the agenda we'd like to follow for our general membership meeting. So there'll be your usual welcome kind of thing. And then we would like to highlight a CERT program from anywhere. So we're going to count on you guys to send us stories about what your CERT program has been doing in your hometown. And one of those is going to pique our interest, and we're going to ask you to tell everybody at the general membership meeting about what you've been up to. And of course, we love pictures and videos. So if you have those to share, bring it on. We want it all. So let us know what you guys are up to, and your hometown CERT program might be highlighted in our next general membership meeting in May. Then we'll have an update from the leadership team and just let you guys know what we're up to, what we're working on, any help that we might need from you. We will cover that. There'll be an update on the conference, and let you know what's happening with that. By May, at our next meeting, we should be well underway. We will be well underway with registration, but we'll just let you know how plans are coming along and where we are and that sort of thing. And then we hope that at each meeting, we'd like to have somebody to speak on an informational topic. And this is going to be short because we don't want these meetings, the entire meeting, to go more than 90 minutes at the most. So a speaker to give a short talk on either an informational topic or a training topic. So again, we're looking for you all to suggest somebody who has a great topic they can talk to us about. I'm just going to throw this out there. People have asked about codes of conduct. Do you have your CERT members sign a code of conduct? What's in it? Maybe we'll have somebody with a legal background to talk to us about the pros and cons of codes of conduct. And I pulled that out of the air, totally random. I'm not saying that's who our speaker is going to be, but it'll be some topic along that line. And then I always like to leave some room for Q&A at the end. So we want to know what's on your mind, whatever questions you have, and we'll do our best to answer them. And if we don't have the answers right at that moment, we will find the answers and get them to you in a very timely manner. Any questions about the general membership meetings? Has everybody put these on their calendar already? I hope you have. I hope you wrote them all down so that you'll remember these dates. This again will also be in the notes that I send you tomorrow, so you don't have to commit these to memory. You'll have them in the notes that come out. We will have the WebEx links will be going out probably 2 weeks in advance of each meeting. We'll probably send you a notice about the meeting 30 days out, and then about 2 weeks before we'll send out the link so you'll be ready to hop right onto the meeting when it's time for it to start. Will our FEMA region reps be involved? So our FEMA region reps have always been involved with the NCA as part of our advisory kind of group, and we hope that that will continue. We have a very close relationship with FEMA. I know that things are interesting at FEMA right now. That's really all I'm going to get into about that. But yes, Phyllis, it is our hope that we continue our close relationship with FEMA, and definitely, I know we have several FEMA folks on the call tonight. I'm not going to call anybody out by name. I'm just looking down the list. But if any FEMA folks would like to speak up, you certainly may. But again, I'm not going to put you on the spot. But yes, we will have involvement from our FEMA reps. And Harold, I love the idea of having more tribal involvement. I would love to see that. So I'm writing that one down too. So we have a Spanish track. We need more tribal involvement. And Harold, so I'd love to hear you say that and the things that will be helpful for us, exactly what Brenda just said. How do we do it? Tell us how to get more folks involved, and we would love to have more involvement. So please do reach out to us and let us know what that would look like, and how do we reach out to the folks who could benefit from CERT training and who would also enjoy it. So yes, I'm trying to write and talk at the same time, and that usually doesn't go well. But yes, so please, will the WebEx always be the same link? If I can figure out how to do that, yes. If not, then I'll send it out to you. For right now, just put the dates on your calendar, and we'll make sure that you know how to join us for the next meeting in May, because we want you there. Yes, thank you. Brenda has just put some email addresses in the chat. So to answer those questions about tribal involvement or ideas for a Spanish language track at the conference, email either of us. So that top one is my email, and then training, that's Brenda's email. We really want to hear from you all, because it's your association. So let us know what it is that y'all want. Any other questions or comments on the basic membership meeting schedule or topics for that?
I have a question.
Yes.
When you send out the WebEx, could you put in there the people that you already have, you have their contact names in the slides? Could you also put their contact emails?
Yes.
Because I have a question that I would like to ask Denise.
Yes.
One of the things from last year, I'm looking for a presenter's name, but I can't remember the name of the class.
Okay. Add emails
Please.
to, yep, absolutely I will. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. I think, like I said, I wanted to keep it pretty brief tonight. What other questions related to the National CERT Association? And I realize I'm opening the box. Hit us with it. What are your questions? What are your concerns? What are you excited about? What's on your mind? Let us know. Okay, this could be a short meeting then. I'm sure things will come up, and you do have some emails there. Is Mike on the call? He's texting me. I think he is. Mike, are you on the call? I don't think he is, Brenda. He was just texting me, and it seemed like his question was relevant to what we were just talking about. He says we do have an updated MOU with FEMA, so he must know that we were talking about that. Yeah, I don't think he's actually on. Louise has a question. Other than the conference, what other benefits are there to being a member? That is a great question, and I get asked that question a lot. Once we really have that resource library up and going, I think that is going to be the single greatest value to being a member, because you'll have access to PowerPoints and yes, networking, Phyllis says. You'll have access to PowerPoints, and it's not just that anybody can just throw something in there and say, oh, here's a talk I did 2 years ago, go ahead and use this. Things have to be vetted by Brenda and our training team in order to be put into the resource library. So you know, if it's on that NCA resource library, that it has been looked at by folks who really know CERT inside out and backwards, and know that this particular PowerPoint does meet the standards for CERT, and it doesn't, teach anything that is outside of what we should do or not do, like self-deploying, right? We all know that we don't self-deploy as CERT volunteers. So if somebody sends us a PowerPoint about that, then we're not going to use it because it's not within what we teach as CERT. So just know that the materials that make it to the resource library are going to be very good materials. Tina had her hand up.
Yes, Tina Brown with Callaway County Emergency Management and CERT team and Missouri Association. Sorry,
Great.
had a dog turn and with that being said, is there with the resource library, would we be able to, as the CERT Association for Missouri, would we be able to take the resources that are there and share them out to our CERT teams through our association?
Brenda, would you like to answer that one?
I think the goal, Tina, would be for everybody to, utilize the resources to the best advantage. If you're representing the Missouri programs, sharing that information is going to be important. The whole goal of creating that resource library is to have a cookie, right? Everybody wants a cookie, and they want some unique opportunity to say, where can I get this information? And so if we're taking it and we're spreading it across, a single state by one member, the idea is that, hey, good news is good news is good news, but we certainly want to make sure that we're thinking about the reason why that resource library was created was a specialty opportunity for people to be involved with the National CERT Association so that we can build those conferences. So would I like to say, we want Missouri to be just as prepared as everybody else, but we also want to make sure that, our resources are put in the hands of folks that have been through a train the trainer, who have an understanding of program management and have maybe that overarching state look, to make sure that they're being shared appropriately. So Would I like to see everybody in Missouri, you know, at least a program, one person from a program be part of the National CERT Association so that they can access their own? Yes, I would. Would I adore Tina Brown sharing great information? Yes, I would. But, you know, again, think about the ways and the ways that we want to, you know, build this cadre. We have to continue this capability. And I see lots of questions about the effect of what happens with FEMA and the National CERT Association. You are all the National CERT Association, you, the members of this organization. So if we intend to stay strong, we intend to be an opportunity to provide conferences, we still have the curriculum, we still have the information that's being shared through the National Disaster Emergency Management University, you know, to be able to do that. So, you know, thank you for that question. But again, the goal is to keep this National CERT Association alive and well, and continue to improve the capabilities to bring CERT all across the country.
Mhm.
Hope that helps a little bit by
Yeah.
rounding
Yeah, no,
around the question.
that was great. Thank you for that. And I know I mentioned it when I saw Phyllis's message pop up, but certainly networking is a a huge benefit of being a member, because just look at all the people. I know we can't tell here, some of y'all have where you're from, but we've got people from all over the US on this call. And now you know people that are CERT people in other states. And if you have a question, then you can ask them. And I think it's really a great place. Our membership portal, our website also has message boards, and it's not like Facebook but it's a means by which you could put a question out there and say, hey, I'm in a town of 80,000 people, and here's what we're trying to do. Has anybody dealt with this before? And other CERT members will be there to answer your questions and say, well, here's what we did in my town. And it's really, really valuable to have that kind of connection with other CERT members across the country. I'm looking down the list here. Next, I see Myron's asking if the dues cost have changed. They have not. It is $27.95 to join the National CERT Association. And yeah, that's what it costs. Let's see. Craig says he didn't know about the NCA until he got an email invitation to the meeting. How did you get invited? So, Craig, I sent the invitation out to every member of the National CERT Association, and also to a group that our website service calls prospects. And so I don't know if you ever visited our website or left your email address with us. I'm sorry, I don't know where you're from or anything, but if you are a prospect, so we had your email, then that may be how we got in touch with you. Tina, did I answer your question? Or did you have another question?
No, you did. I just didn't
Okay.
get my.
Oh, that's fine.
Sorry.
I see that Kim in Oregon also has a question. Go ahead, Kim.
Okay, it's too long typing it.
I get it.
I've been a CERT member for about 10 years, and I'm also part of the Coast Guard Auxiliary over here in Oregon on the coast.
Yeah.
They are very interested in the CERT program. They're
Great.
encouraged to take outside ICS classes, and actually CERT was mentioned on part of their emergency preparedness. Has anybody had experience in incorporating a CERT program into the core training with the Coast Guard Auxiliary?
I haven't personally, but I can tell you that we have a very active Coast Guard auxiliary here in North Carolina, and they are doing some CERT training as well. And I have folks that I could put you in touch with that have done exactly that. I'm going to write down your name.
That would be wonderful, because we've been talking to our division leaders, and we have a big division conference later this month.
Oh, great.
And our Commodore is extremely interested, but they're trying to justify how to incorporate it into it as a training.
Okay.
I,
Since I'm on the West Coast, hi, this is Carrie Chenard with the City of San Diego. I'll put my email address in there. If you want to give me a quick email, I can discuss this in more detail with you. Since I'm on the West Coast, we're in the same time zone. I'd be happy to do that.
thanks,
Great,
Gary.
thank you.
I
All
do
right,
know
you're welcome.
also that the Civil Air Patrol is doing CERT training as part of their training as well. So I know that's not exactly the same
Yes.
as Coast Guard Auxiliary, but it's kind of similar.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to talk about too. But yeah,
Good.
being auxiliary kind of governmental agencies, you can talk about how it's done and what they're doing. Yes,
Yeah, that's great.
absolutely.
Excellent.
Great,
Let's
thank
see.
you.
Yeah, thanks, Kim. Appreciate the question. Kyle has asked the likely impact to NCA of the FEMA cuts. So Mike Williams is on the call listening, but somehow he's muted. So he's texting me, and I'm gonna read you what he said. He says there is no change with FEMA and the NCA. We do have an updated MOU. So it's current, and at this time, we're seeing no impact, no changes. So we know it's a dynamic situation, but right now, it's just status quo. Kathy, it looks like you've gotten a few answers, but let's see, you moved from California to Western Pennsylvania, trying to find someone there. So I see you have gotten some answers about Pennsylvania. Are you also familiar with, if you go to fema.gov/cert? Oh, I think Doug just put it in the chat there. You can search by your zip code to find the closest CERT programs to you, and that may be really helpful. So check that out. And I'm not going to go too much more on this because I see you've gotten a lot of answers in the chat there. Francis is excited for the next level at the NCA. Thank you, Francis. Francis was our host for last year's conference in Washington, D.C., and she did a fantastic job, she and her team. But really, we know Francis was the queen of all of it. She was amazing. And we all had so much fun in Washington, D.C. So thank you, Francis. We're really glad that you're here and helping us with this year's conference. Kyle wants to know the likely impact of state CERT groups of these same budget cuts. So then a really, really different state by state. Is Tommy on this call? Tommy Cleversey, are you here? Said he was going to be. I don't see him. Florida. Okay. If states get federal dollars for training, it is really up to the state where that money goes. So Florida has a great program, and they get, I'm not going to say how much because I don't want to say something wrong, and Tommy's not on here, but they get money through their state legislature because the money from the feds goes to the state legislature and they decide where to dole it out. In North Carolina, do you want to know what my budget is for CERT? It is $0.00. I don't get any federal money directly for the CERT program.
As of this afternoon, FEMA has reallocated money back to North Carolina, extended 6 months.
Okay, great. But for what? That's for Helene. Oh, but we're not talking about relief. We're talking about.
Keep FEMA aboard.
Well, yeah, that's true. Sorry, my husband had to pipe in that we just got our recovery money for Hurricane Helene extended from FEMA, but that's a different bucket than like where the CERT money comes from. So Kyle, I'm really going around the wheelhouse to answer your question. I don't know what the likely impact is to state CERT groups from budget cuts. I think we're all just going to have to stay tuned and see how that goes. And if you know your state CERT coordinator, that might be a good question for them to know how federal money is handled at your state level, because every state does handle those things a little differently. Irene, I would also love to see resources on grants in the library. That's a fantastic idea. I'm writing it in the magic notebook because there are grants out there, and they're not all FEMA grants. There are other places to get grants. And if every CERT program had one person who loved researching and finding grants. Oh, I see Tommy's joining. He must have, his ears were burning. You heard me talking about him. Grants can be so helpful for a CERT program. And like I said, they're not all federal.
Right. Hey, this is Carrie about grants. something you can look at is also local organizations for the smaller programs that maybe don't have the robust state level certs, kind of like we do have here in California. Finding local organizations that are civically and preparedness minded, figuring out what they want and seeing if there's a match. Grant writing can be very, very personalized, and often when you receive grants, you have to manage the money. So grants are good money. It's definitely not free money. It does require management. So I just put that little
Yeah.
caution in there. But
Yeah.
this would be a good resource for you to talk through ideas and find out
For sure.
what you have. So
Yep. I say, since I know Don has a hand up, Cam had their hand up. I want to come back to that, but Tommy, who we were just talking about, says AARP, the Association for Retired Persons, just pushed out a grant opportunity for preparedness to the senior population, and CERT would qualify for that. And I don't know about y'all, but in North Carolina, an awful lot of our CERT members are seniors as well. So that's a great point. Tommy, we were talking about you. Were your ears burning?
My good friend Irene, who is on this call, told me they're talking about you. I'm like, oh really? Do I need to pop on? She goes, wouldn't be
Yeah.
a bad idea.
I was sort of bragging on Florida, and I don't know the exact numbers, but that you all handle your state allocated federal money so that you get a pretty nice piece of pie that's dedicated to CERT. At least I think that used to be the case. Can you shed any light on that?
We do. And I know Don's got his hand up, and so I think we best go from me to Don. So we used to get a very large chunk, and that used to come from EMPG funding. And basically, we got that funding from our Florida Division of Emergency Management. Unfortunately, that has dwindled down to where we no longer receive it.
Mm.
And so, what we are doing this year is we are actually funding our programs, and what we do is we do a notice for opportunity. It's an open competitive grant process, and this year we are funding 12 grantees, 12 CERT programs through a competitive bid process, and we are funding them through our foundation. And for those that don't know, our program, our agency is very similar to Don's. We're Volunteer Florida, so we are a commission, and we have a nonprofit leg extension of our agency, and that is how we are doing that. And so through donors and through basically our CEO kind of doing outreach and talking about what CERT does, along with our governor and our Florida Division of Emergency Management Executive Director, we've able to bring in some money. And so, yeah, we're doing that way. And I told everybody, and I put it in the chat, AARP, they just had the webinar. I think it was 2 days ago this week. They have a great opportunity. I will share that with the webinar's already happened, but you can watch the on-demand version, and I'll send that to Samantha for her to send it out to everybody. But it's a great opportunity for CERT programs out there. Again, it's going to be a competitive grant, but I think the max amount is $25,000.
Wow. That's a lot in CERT dollars. That's awesome. Thank you, Tommy. It's nice to know that if I just say your name 3 times that you join on a WebEx. You're like Beetlejuice. That was good. Dawn, I see you have your hand up. What's up with you? What's your question?
Hi, hey Samantha, appreciate your having the meeting. And
go ahead, Don.
Am I the correct Don?
Oh, sorry, I saw Don.
Yeah, go ahead, Don. You're fine.
Oops. You
Sorry.
sure?
Yeah, Don Reed, go ahead.
Okay, tracking. I've been involved with CERT programs in the San Francisco Bay Area, a couple of cities since 2005. And I wanted to address a point that the person from the Coast Guard had brought up and just throw in my 2 cents, which was on the Army side, we'd used force protection as one of our justifications for getting programs going, getting soldiers trained, because that protect our personnel resources along with their families, because all that would impact operations, especially in an emergency. And part of my elevator speech to folks is, because every city in the Bay Area has a program, varying degrees of activity and so forth. But part of my elevator speech is to go to the city's website, go to the fire department, because 9 times out of 10, that's the sponsor, and then sign up for a free course. And they could find out the training that's available that way. And then they take the training, it's free, and then get some insight on what their city's plan is, since most of them keep it close to the vest. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate you sharing that. Dina Gunning, you're next.
Hi. Oh, thanks so much for taking that on. I know Suva has been fantastic all these years, but yeah, he most certainly could use a break. Just really excited to just kind of get back in the swing of things here, and just talking about grants. Y'all should check in with your local healthcare districts as well. We just put on a basic prep class at one of our senior assisted living centers, but it was, we did outreach to all of the healthcare district, which also provides a lot of training for the seniors. So we held it at one of their sites. It was really well attended. I think we had way over 25 attendees. And then we also had some of the residents that attended as well. But the healthcare district was great. They actually provided little mini first aid kits and a duffel bag for supplies. So all they had to do was, take our information and put the supplies in, and then we always give them whistles as
great.
well that we provide during our trainings. But yeah, the healthcare districts are great. And just excited to see everybody continue on with the conference, the national conference. We had the second one here in the Bay Area in Burlingame, and was just so impressed with the amount of people that came out. I think we had over 1,200 over the course of the conference. So, yeah. And then, beyond that, we're 40 years, we'll be back in LA, right? So 2026, we'll
kind of planning
back where it all started.
Yeah, that's the current thought.
Yeah. But yeah, sometimes those grants, and you brought up a good point, be careful when you're going for them. Sometimes, 25 grand seems like a lot of money, and it can go a long ways. But it's your time that it takes to, as you said, administer the grant and manage it, and make sure you're getting all your reporting in. So it's all good notes. Thanks, everybody.
Great. Thanks, Dina. Appreciate that. Now the other Don Sowers. What's up, my good friend in Tennessee?
Hello, everyone. Let me just turn this on here real quickly. There, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I was going to put it in the chat, but it was too long, so I'll read this as quickly as I possibly can, because this is something that I was actually sharing recently about CERT program funding with a couple of our startup CERT programs. Obviously, the CERT preparedness training is provided free to the public, and all CERT program costs, such as training, exercise, equipment expenses, are at the discretion of the local sponsoring organization. They are the ones that are supposed to provide funding for that. Having said that, of course, there are 501c3s that you can create under the IRS code and do funding separately that way as well. There are grants and Homeland Security grant programs available. They talked about the private grants a few moments ago. Homeland Security grant program actually puts out a fact sheet every single time they do a NOFO, a Notice of Funding Opportunity. And if you just go ahead and Google those words, a Homeland Security grant program, you will find information about it, even as has been pointed out earlier on this call, the dynamic environment under which the federal government sees grants being operated under right now. So there may be question marks surrounding everything, but I should suggest to anyone that wants to find out about the Homeland Security grant program that they go ahead and do that search online, because they do establish what are called the national priority areas. In fiscal year 2023, which most of the CERT programs now are working under, as far as the funds that have already been made available, it said that you can establish, train, and maintain community emergency response teams and teen CERT with those program funds. So that is another opportunity for you to get a hold of whoever at your state handles grant funding, is the pass-through agency. Sometimes it's your state emergency management agency, sometimes it's a different agency within the state. Whoever handles the pass-through from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security grant funds, that's the one you want to speak to. Because sometimes, even though you may not have been on the initial application as a CERT program asking for funding, possibly your state CERT coordinator can get some of those funds that aren't spent in other areas and then redirect them to training equipment. We're going to purchase cargo trailers for our rural and underserved counties here in Tennessee so they can do training and not have to come up with all the expense of buying fire pans, backboards, and what have you. So it's something that even though it's been out there for a couple of years, you may still be able to take advantage of it. And I would strongly recommend that if you do have an opportunity to get some people to do some local fundraising for you as well, whether it be Chamber of Commerce, what have you, that you pursued that route as well.
Thank you, Don. A wealth of information, as always. Don is very knowledgeable on so many topics. If you ever get a chance to chat with him, you will come away knowing more than you used to. He's a great guy. Any other questions, comments? I looked through the chat and I think I've answered most of the questions there, or somebody else has. Yes, Tim Smith.
Yeah, thanks. The question I had in the chat was on this new council that's being put together for reviewing FEMA. It's being chaired by the Secretary of Homeland Security and the Secretary of Defense, but it's going to have 20 total members, and that's going to be drawn from government and both federal, state, local, and the private sector. And it's going to be addressing the future of FEMA and where it should go. A lot of the things they're talking about now are going to be around FEMA coming out from under DHS, which I don't think would affect our organization, but there's a big push to have the federal government step back from a lot, especially in response and recovery, and push that down to the state level. And if they do that with funding, that would be a great thing. I think that's something that would really benefit us. But I think, you know, national organizations like IAM, NEMA, the big city emergency managers, and NCA should have a voice into that. So I didn't know if we had a way to put something out for that, like some of these other organizations have, or to try and build a position for the pointy end of the spear, which is where we end to be.
Right.
Thanks.
I think Carrie has her hand up. Were you going to speak to that, Carrie? Because I was just thinking
Yes.
the person to answer that.
Thank you so much. Hi, Tim. This is Carrie Chenard from California. Thank you so much for that question. The role that FEMA plays for CERT, whether at the federal, state level, they are really just the kind of distributing entity and the home base for where the material sits. They really do not identify or are in charge of any type of management of at the local level or the state level of any of the programs, and they are not in charge necessarily of the funding. Now, they may be able to, on behalf of during the budget process at the federal level, they may be able to say, hey, please consider adding a little more money to, but they're more like subject matter experts. They are not the ones that are writing the legislation to put them in the omnibus bills for funding. So FEMA doesn't really play a very large fiscal role with regards to funding, if that makes sense.
It does. I spent 15 years in FEMA. Recently retired, so I understand their position, and I think there's an opportunity here because they're trying to. What they're going to have to do is they're going to have to rewrite Stafford because you can't change the organization without the underlying legislation. And so, if they're going to rewrite that, there may be an opportunity to strengthen some of the stuff that's being done in preparedness, which is where CERT lies within FEMA, and maybe bolster that and get some more money sent to the states for preparedness. That may come in the form of CERT, or it may come in other kinds of things. But I think there's an opportunity for us to lend our voice to, if you're going to strengthen FEMA and push some of that down to a lower level, state and locals, CERT may be a place where they could do that.
Have you seen the ICPD section of FEMA, the Independent or Individual Community Preparedness Directive?
Division. Yeah.
Division, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Would that be kind of the vehicle that you were thinking of for that push, or?
I think it could be. I think, the
Mhm.
the position that I've taken and I've been trying to advocate for is we've been tinkering around with the Stafford Act for decades, right? And I think it's time to get out a white sheet of paper and a number 2 pencil and start over.
At the
And
federal level, right?
at the federal level and say,
Yeah.
what is it that should the federal government do at the emergency management level? There's a big push right now to push a lot more down to the states. And if that comes with funding, that'll be good. But if they just say, we're going to quit doing this at the federal level and states, you figure it out, then we're going to be hosed. But
Mm-hmm.
I think putting voice to, yes, there is a support to to the states, I think is the right thing to do, but you got to back it up with the funds to do that, because the resources are really going to drive it. Because, like I said, some states have a good, robust emergency management capability, and some don't.
Right.
And I think I think there's an opportunity for us to give voice to that.
You know what? If you don't mind giving me a one sheet on that from your experience, it looks like it'd be really valuable to get your insight. Do you have my email address in there? It's in the chat towards the end. I can
Yeah,
put
I
it
got
in
it.
again, but I would love to hear more of your feedback on that and your thoughts, if that's okay.
Okay, happy to.
Great. Thank you, Tim.
This is the value of the NCA, you guys. This is what we've been talking about. It's this networking. I'm getting cold chills over here. It's fantastic. Our friend, our business operations dude, Mike Williams from California, who for whatever reason we can't unmute him, but he's texting me, so I just wanted to share. He just wants to thank everybody for being here. He thinks this meeting is great, and it's really reassuring that there's so many of you who are here and have so much enthusiasm and energy for the NCA, and that he wants to reassure you that we will be following up with the hotel and getting the contract signed. So we'll be definitely ready for Indianapolis, and that the biggest issue is confirming our funding. So that's why our sponsor and exhibitor team right at this moment is the most important team for this conference, because we really need to be sure that we have the funding in place to help make this conference happen. Conferences are expensive, and so we want to cover the costs as much as possible to keep the registration for you as individuals as low as possible. I know somebody asked about if I could even guess how much registration would be. I don't want to guess, and that's not exactly what they said, but we'll know soon. By March 1st, we should have a good handle on what the cost is going to be for you, the individual, to attend. So yeah, what else do you guys have? I think Kim and Tim, we answered you guys, right? Dina, do you have another question?
Yeah, no, more like a comment. Carrie, I know we've probably had side conversations too, but as we talk about this legislation and these things with FEMA, that we also have our California Emergency Services Association. We have a legislative committee as well. And I know we'll be chiming in on this, and we've had brief conversations about the Stafford Act and what needs to happen there. So Tim, thank you for your comments, because we really appreciate it. We've just got to get the right people that know what direction we need to be heading in. As you mentioned, to be part of that committee so that we do get our voices heard in that. And I know we had so many bills that passed this year that had to do with emergency management and preparedness and sheltering, just in our state. So I can only imagine and what else goes on throughout the country, right? But we've tackled a lot, but there's a lot left to do. And I don't know that we have a legislative committee through national CERT. Not that we need another committee, but maybe some of those discussion points could be part of that platform. So I don't know if we meet or if we can meet at conference or somehow get folks together so that we do have a collective voice in how things should go moving forward.
Thank you, Dina. Appreciate that. We have a few more minutes because, as I said, I didn't want this to go past 90 minutes, and we're 7 minutes. We're at 83 minutes, if I can count in minutes. Also, I told y'all at the beginning that I was recording this, and so obviously that recording will be available. If you missed anything or you came in late and you want to listen to the earlier stuff, you'll be able to watch this, tomorrow, the next day, whenever you want to see it. So I will be sending all that information to you all tomorrow. In the last few minutes that we have, do we have any final questions or thoughts or comments? Well, okay. On behalf of the whole leadership team, I'm just super excited. Wait, Tommy got in there at the last second. What's up, Tommy?
I'm so sorry, Sam.
You're
I tried to
fine.
find, going from Zoom to Microsoft Teams. I want to throw this out to the California members out there. We saw this. We similar to the young lady that was speaking. We have an association here in Florida. It's called the Florida Emergency Preparedness Association. And we had a lovely workshop, and it was very, very interesting. It was put on by our Firefighters Association about EV vehicles and kind of dealing with them, aka what here in Florida was flooding, right? With Hurricane Helene, Milton, and Ian. I would be very curious on a workshop at NCA, especially this upcoming one, is especially for CERT volunteers, because a lot of programs are kind of tied to the firefighters, right? Is sort of working with firefighters and what that looks like as far as proper what is the word I'm using? Dealing with EV vehicles that either catch on fire
Right.
or flooding. You kind of know where I'm going with this,
Yeah.
Sam?
Yeah, I do.
I think that would be a very great topic if we could have that at the workshop that could be conducted by somebody of that subject matter expert, especially we're talking about nationwide, right?
Yeah.
EV vehicles is a hot topic. Is what does that look like? What kind of training is needed? What sort of expertise, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Great points. Thank you for all of that.
Yeah, we actually have our gas and electric company that does a whole presentation on responding to electrical and gas emergencies, which doesn't quite touch the EV situation now, but we're talking about adding that component to it. Because yeah, that's just a very different response, right? So
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
we have a specialist that's kind of spearheading a lot of national education with professional first responders, like with the lithium ion battery safety. So he's working with people in New York with all the containers that were coming over from other countries that may have had the batteries that were popping off and catching on fire and things like that. So it is out there. It's still kind of in the newest phases. I don't know that it has. I do have a note that I'm looking at right now on my desk saying lithium ion battery safety training for CERT. So it's in the work within the
That's
city of
great.
San Diego. So I mean, if it does eventually happen, I'd be more than happy to share what we
That's great.
have when it comes up. So
Awesome. Thank you, Carrie.
that's great, Carrie. Thanks.
Love it. I love it. You guys are awesome. All right. It is 3 minutes. What are we at? 87 minutes. So we need to wind this up. I do want to thank all of you guys for joining on a Monday evening. Really appreciate you taking the time to be here. And gosh, I'm so enthused, and I feel like this is going to be the best conference ever, and the NCA is really going to take off, and things will be reinvigorated. So thank you all for that. You've got my email, you've got Carrie's and Brenda's and lots of folks that you can reach out to if you have any questions. Thank you again for being here, and we hope to see you soon. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Fabulous, Samantha.
Thank you. Don, remind me, because I've been trying to look and I meant to do this. And then you asked about it. I want to save the chat. Where do I do that? I've done it before and now I can't find it.
I don't have a clue because I don't use WebEx very often. So not a clue on that one, kiddo. Maybe
right.
just if you type into a Google search,
Yeah.
how to save the chat from a